Yeah.
Dennis from PlanetMosh, outside the Oak 2 Academy in the freezing cold. Talking to Mark Sutcliffe from, well, I shouldn't say veteran rockers, Trespass, but...
No, I think veterans probably are blind by now, although of course there are some veterans that are still going that I wouldn't have believed if someone had told me 40 years ago some of these bands like Purple and Sabbath and that would still be going, but
and yourselves, obviously.
Yeah, that's
my first question. I was going to just say, like, you know, when you, like in a heyday, would you be seeing yourself doing this in 40 years' time?
Absolutely not.
No.
I think we were so young, and we were sort of kind of the new wave of British heavy metal. Although a lot of bands that were sort of from the punk era sort of try and sort of dismiss it, I think the whole kind of punk and independent label movement and young lads just picking up a guitar and doing it, there was a crossover there for me anyway. And I think at the time it was a very much a youthful thing, although a couple of the bands were a bit old, like Saxon and people like that, and of course Purple and all those other bands had a bit of a reformation sort of around that time to sort of capitalise on that music being more popular. But at the time, no, we didn't think it would be a long-term thing.
Right. They're like a second childhood then.
But so we, you know, the thing is, it's just, I don't know, I think it's just it's the music itself and the loyalty of the people that love it that's causing this to happen.
Well, you'll find out with the crowd later on. It's,
I mean, it's just...
It's like being back into a time.
I'm humbled by it, to be honest. I really am. And it's given us the opportunity to reform and re-record some of the old classics, and then go on. We're just putting the finishing touches to a new album.
As regards the new album, how did you sort of find the songwriting process? Quite easy, or?
Some of the stuff I've had for a long time, but never got the chance to really sort of bring it to the fore. Other things I've been writing about, maybe there's a few more songs. I'm quite a bit of an environmentalist.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the ideal subject matter for rock songs, but it should be stuff you're passionate about.
Well, it's not all birds and birds, is it? Really?
And that's right. So we've got a couple of tracks that you know, they're sending a bit of a message.
Yeah.
But some of it's birds and birds, of course.
That's what I thought. Like, obviously, you're not writing in the same mindset as 40 years ago, is it? Obviously, but you know.
No, of course. Well, I think this is another thing. As you mature and your mind, and you think about your different priorities, you're thinking about different things. Have children. So trying to pretend that you're still 20 is, you know, not ideal. But there's just something about it. It's like a big family. It's such a great thing to be part of.
And the thing is, when you get chances to sort of writing your stuff, it's more of a like a bit of a standpoint. You can say what you want to say, can't you? Really, you know, just. Yeah,
and it's also interesting because it was the new wave of British heavy metal, and Trespass sort of got caught up in the net, as it were. We just existed anyway. We didn't form because of the new wave of British heavy metal. We were already there, and as the net was cast, it was in 79, 80. So we were really right in the heart of what the new wave of British heavy metal was, which was basically record companies casting around for likely young bands that might, you know, have something to say.
Read the small print first.
Yeah, and we just came so close to a major deal early on. First with EMI and then with Chrysalis. But because we never actually did an album, we should have done an album immediately after one of these days. I really think it could have been we'd have either arisen or fallen on our merits then. Either that album would possibly have been taken up by a major and the rest would be history, or not. But as it was, because we sort of almost got there, it's given us a sort of slightly different status to some of the other bands, and we've become a bit of a mystery, you know. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to reform, establish Trespass again as a creative force. And the new album's so important to me. I mean, we'll be playing some new songs tonight. Still, all the old ones are in there too, obviously, for people that know those songs. But I really think, I like to think they're songs that you can just get into anyway if you've never heard them before.
Well, the thing is, like I say with your sort of band, it's one foot in the past, one foot in the future. You've got to sort of do that dividing line between.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
The ball rolling.
Absolutely, yes. And talking to record companies, it's kind of like they're sort of they're interested in your new stuff, but they really want your back catalogue. And I guess it's one of those things you have to sort of trade one up against the other, you know. But I am really trying to. All I really want for this music is for it to be listened to, for it to be heard, for people to enjoy it. That's all I want. I'm not looking for money from it. I'm not looking for you know, mega success. And when you've got a message in the songs, obviously there's even more reason for it to want it to be heard. But I'm really having fun with it, and that's, you know.
You said about the environmental issues. I mean, there's a French metal band called Gojira, and all the lyrics are environmentally friendly based areas. So I mean,
right, yeah. Well, actually, I've in my other life, I've just opened a vegan cafe. I'm a chef.
Right.
So I do. Yeah. I'm sort of. But again, it's a creative thing, you know. I love the music, and I like food as well. So
sell some merch there when the album's out.
That's right.
You know,
you know.
We'll put a food stall here.
Recipes, yeah.
Put a vegan food stall today.
But yeah, so with my partner, Lily, but no, this is about, for me, it's about taking the status that we've been given by the people that are still following our music, because that's where it comes from.
Yep.
It comes from bums on seats and people wanting to see us, and giving something back, and sharing something new with them, and that's why I wanted to carry on.
Right.
And maybe some of the other guys didn't, because they had other lives and other things going on. But luckily I found these three guys, and Joe is such a fantastic guitarist. You watch him later on, he's only 30. And,
only 30.
Only 30, yeah, that's right. And which I was still 30, but he's so wonderful on the guitar, and our playing seems to complement each other really well. And Trespass was always about that dual guitar thing.
Yeah.
But the other guy, Dave, he wasn't really a lead guitarist as such. To have another actual lead guitarist frees me for the vocals a bit more as well, and it's really great.
So the obvious question is, without being rude, if you get like sort of a younger member of the band, so it gives you a bit of a kick to keep going, or?
Absolutely. I mean, from the point of view, when I first started jamming with Joe, I thought, Christ, I'm going to have to up my game a bit here. You know, start practicing a bit more, and because you do sort of settle down to sort of a way of playing, a way of expressing yourself. It's a little bit like language. You know, when you're talking, especially to somebody who really knows you, you've got a certain set of words that a vocabulary you might use. It's the same in music. But when you want to go that little bit further, you have to learn some new words, you have to learn some new phrasing, and maybe some new ways of approaching things. But it's been great. It's been great working with all these guys. They're just such lovely guys, you know. And they are doing it for the music as well.
You mentioned one of these days. Obviously, I was going to ask. Like, you know, you seem to get a lot of press very early on in your career with that song and Storm Child as well. That you would be like a bit sort of overawed so soon.
I think what happened with one of these days was that it was really interesting, because it was literally our first studio session. We recorded one of these days. We signed to a local record label out in Suffolk where we were. But basically what happened was a Neil Kay Soundhouse took it up, and they played it to death. And I remember going down there and watching people reacting in London to my song. And I thought, oh, this is something else. You know, I think it was just like the song, the sort of the quiet intro, the sort of build up, and then the heavier part, and the sort of link to Lizzie and UFO and some of the other bands that had sort of paved the way, that built the foundation for which the whole New Wave British Heavy Metal was built on, really. And all those bands were still going, you know. Obviously not without Phil, but no, it was just one of those things. We came up with the song, we did it, and probably we weren't ready for what happened as people, and we probably didn't have the guidance we needed from a management perspective.
And obviously, you know, Lars Ulrich did a compilation album, and put one of your tracks on there.
He did, and I've met Lars a couple of times since then, and James. In fact, the last time I met James was at a download, and he said, "Man," he said, we shortlisted one of these days for garaging." He said, but it didn't make it onto the album. I thought, why are you telling me this? You know, I don't want to know. You know,
royalties,
for God's sake, cover it and have done with it. You'll probably get a hit single. And I'll get some money, you know, so I can carry on playing. It's all I want to do. But no, they're always really friendly to us. I mean, I suppose if we ever, and that's another reason that I thought, well, we might as well make an effort to put our heads above the parapet. You know, if they can see that we're making an effort and we're doing something, and we exist as a musical force, then maybe they might help us out. You know?
I read some of the members of the fan club as well, back in the day.
Yeah, Lars Ulrich and James were members of the Trespass fan club. I mean, it seems bizarre now, doesn't it? But it just goes to show that influences, even small influences from different bands that go into the mix that make a band who they are.
That's right.
And of course it would be wonderful, and I'm probably flattering myself, but maybe there's a little bit of us in Metallica.
Why not? Yeah.
You know, and that's the way we've got a new track called Footprints in the Rock, which is kind of about that. About, you know, everyone makes their mark and then that's built on. And you can't have the bands you've got now without the bands that went before, and how music goes through these sort of stages. It's really interesting.
Well, I first heard of Trespass through the Friday Rock Show. We did a session with them.
That's right.
So that was with Tony Wilson, obviously. Was,
yeah, I
remember much of that day or not?
I really do, actually. Yeah, because we went into what was a symphony orchestra studio, so it was absolutely cavernous.
Yeah. With
these massive, like 30-foot mic stands, and we were tucked away in a corner. Tony Wilson was there, obviously. Tommy Manson popped in as well, and it was quite amazing. And I didn't really know much about Tony at the time, but of course he has produced everyone, Purple, you know, and thinking now, it was actually a great honour to be recorded by him. And we'll be doing a song from Visionary, which was recorded at the Friday night show session today. It's a song we don't play live that much, and it means a lot to some people, so yeah, we'll be playing that one.
Well, the thing with the Friday Rock Show, like you say about the heavy metal, sound house, there was no internet in them days, and that was the only sort of way you'd sort of hear about.
That's right, and of course,
what sort of band,
of course, and that is one of the massive, mega changes is the internet, and the ability to get your music. I mean, when you think of the different amounts of media and music that's available for kids, all ages, to listen to, it's amazing if anyone listens to your music at all, isn't it? I mean, it's a miracle, but yeah, it's flattering, really. I'm amazed every time someone says, I really like your stuff, and you know, not that I don't rate it myself, but still nice.
See, with the internet, it's got its good and bad points. I mean, I've heard from some interviews off camera that people say that there's no real rock stars anymore because there's no mysticism about it. You can read what they're for dinner that day. Even the bigger bands, there's no. You haven't got to try harder to go and find out what.
I think that's something that's happening in society in general, isn't it? With politicians and everyone's being like nobody in a position of any power or any influence. It's much harder to gain any kind of respect now. Everyone's kind of levelling off. But I guess that even better. And I came in earlier on and somebody was wearing one of our shirts, and I thought, great.
Right. Yeah.
More for the. Not for the money of it, because
they made the effort to.
That's right.
To listen.
So yeah.
This is your first UK gig since you played Brofest?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. No, we did the other Hard Rock Hell.
Oh yes, that's
in
right.
Wales.
Yeah.
And we've done a couple of local things.
Yeah.
But, it's really about. We've been working on the album. That's where most of our time has gone. We're able to put into it.
Yeah.
And it's almost just a few little finishing touches, and they'll be out.
Right. And you played a few European festivals this year.
Yeah, we played in Germany at Headbangers Open Air, which was great fun. It's always brilliant to play there. Great crowd. We had a great time. So and in Holland, and we'd like to do a bit more of that.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to be able to do tours or anything like that. Well, unless something crazy were to happen.
But at the end of the day, on a festival bill, you get your hour. It's there right in front of you. So
that's right.
Especially the European crowd, they like this sort of thing, don't they?
That's right. That's right. And they've never really given up on this sort of music in Germany and the Low Countries and Scandinavia for some reason. But we're a fickle old lot in Britain, aren't we?
I saw Germany final. You get appreciated more in Europe, rather than over, especially with the music magazines. I'm not going to mention the major one, that starts with a K, who probably loved you 30-40 years ago, wouldn't give you the time of day now.
Well, funny enough, Jeff Martin, who was the editor at the time of Kerrang, he couldn't quite get it with Trespass, and he never did. But subsequently, it seems to me that perhaps he's changed his mind a bit. Probably with the test of time, looking back on it now, who were the bands who really, they weren't necessarily the ones who got signed.
Yeah.
I mean, bands like White Spirit and things like that maybe, had that been the other way round and White Spirit didn't get the deal that Trespass did, it would be a different thing. I think we've always had don't mind me blowing my own trumpet a bit. The song power, you know, that was there, especially with the proper production and a record company behind us. I think we could have done something. I would say that.
more like it's best to be honest, isn't it? Really, I mean, you know,
yeah. I really think, yeah.
It's just right place, right time, isn't it? Really, but you know.
Yeah.
Right, one more question. When you were a lot younger, what was your major influences that made you want to start playing guitar?
Early on, it's weird for me. I've always loved music, and I played various different musical instruments, not the guitar, but some other things. And when I started work at 16, I got in with a couple of guys who were at 21 at the time. They lent me 4 albums. It was Led Zeppelin 1, High Voltage by AC/DC, and On the Level by Status Quo. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those 3 albums, and I got heavily into Purple as well.
Right.
I really rate Ritchie Blackmore as a writer as much as anything, as a riff merchant, because that's something I really enjoy, riff music. And I know he's not that popular as a person, but as a guitarist and a songwriter, you know, especially as there's so many people out there, including Ian Gillan and all the rest of them, who probably wouldn't be anyone if it hadn't been for him.
Of course, yeah.
But I can understand that he's not an easy guy to work with, but he was a huge influence on me. Rush as well, really big, especially for Trespass, because the kind of songs we like to have with different passages and a bit more meaning to the lyric and stuff like that. So Rush especially, UFO, Thin Lizzy. I mean, more early on, even things like Slade and Sweet and stuff. But you know,
yeah, well, I grew up with the 70s rock.
So they all came through in my influences. But probably if I had to pick 2. Probably Status Quo and Deep Purple,
right.
I'd say. Yeah, because I think Status Quo had that, they had the look that I felt an affinity with, and they had that thing where they'd have a single, but then the album had other...
That's right.
Look, a lot of British bands did back in that day. A British rock band could break through into the charts and still have a legitimate album career as well.
Yeah.
And that's really changed now. That just doesn't happen.
It's all hit singles now,
yeah.
Isn't it, you know?
So yeah, the guitarist-wise, I'd have to put Blackmore down as my number 1 influence. And I think my favourite song is the live version of Highway Star from Major.
Right.
Just the way the guitar solo is, and just everything about it, the energy.
The way it builds, yeah. Did you see Ritchie back in the early days, or not?
Yeah, I did, with Rainbow. And then I saw John Lord's last gig. Ritchie had left by then.
Yeah.
All I remember, Ritchie was so unbelievably loud that you couldn't hear anything else, that I didn't care. But no, I think there's a... I've always really rated Purple as a... And I think I'm more on that sort of side of music as opposed to the Sabbathy side of metal. But all that came into Sabbath, Priest, again the riff side of things. There's been some amazing bands, British bands. To me, I mean, despite the American Revolution and Metallica and all the others, we still own it as far as I'm concerned.
Of course, well it's it, Birmingham, Newcastle.
Yeah.
The home of the British heavy metal.
That's right. In Sheffield as well, the home of British heavy metal,
Sheffield Steel, isn't
absolutely.
it? Right.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have a good one tonight. I'm certainly going to give it my all, and then recover for a couple of days.
Right, thank you for your time anyway. Before we go, we'll say hello to a big Trespass fan, Alan Marsh.
Hi Alan, why aren't you here?